So real quick, I want to show you this real quick. This is actually going to be very, very interesting to show you this. This right here is a Nike box. It's a pair of shoes. It's a pair of Nike shoes. It's for all you shoe people. This shoe right here is the Nike 270s. Big air pocket in the back, whatever like that. It's come in multiple colors and all that. And this right here was a simple black and white, a little bit of the hot thing in the back. This is, in case people wonder, this is actually the very last thing I ever bought at my old place. That is actually closing. I don't know how many times I'm going to get to wear this, especially not in the wintertime right now. But this is going to go in my little vat of shoes that I've bought. But this will be the last pair of shoes that will ever have been bought from that place. And I have some stories to tell, and I want to make this a short little story time coming up. So this has a little bit of meaning. So let's go ahead and do some story time. Let's get to it, boys and girls. Aha! Yes, it is. It is. It is time. It's time to open the bar up, and I'm glad you guys have come out and hang out here in this lovable world we do say it is Jimmy Jam Sessions. If you continue to like the stuff that we do, as I have now kind of evolved and changed my little background every once in a while. I mean, that guy's still here, and I don't even know why I have him up here because it's not necessarily a great looking jersey. That one has this should be their home jersey, but I don't mind the new one. Anyway, you like all the stuff we do, there's that thing called a subscribe button. Hit that if you want to see more, if you get alerted for new stuff, and please chuck a like if you do like any of the stuff that we do on this channel. Throw a comment in. Yeah, I like doing the stuff on the fly. This is really hard work. I'm surprised I've made it this long. Producer will love me for this. Anyway, I won't want to make this a very long video because this is kind of a little bit of a nostalgic type of thing. Basically, because I didn't make a whole heck of a lot of notes because this was kind of recent. Long story short, as many people know, and especially people in my really close circle, and I know there's many people in my graduating class that are lucky enough, that are probably surprised enough that I had a circle. Just kidding. I was in a company for 20 years, almost 20 years. And let's make it, again, long story short, I left the company in May of 2019 just because simply my DM did not want to work with me moving up in the company. I've tried for years to move up, whether it was going certain places and throwing my resume out and basically pretty much making me work for somebody that I technically was not comfortable doing, even though he was one of my friends. I'm not going to dwell whole hardcore into the past about that because once I made that decision, it ended up actually for myself as far as work related was one of the best decisions I ever made because now I'm in a company that I'm actually very happy to be in as of the moment in this very second. I'm very happy to be there with coworkers that I am actually very, very proud and happy to be working with. On and off, I've had a little bit of, I always like to say the roller coaster of how much I got along with workmates and everything like that. Because there's a lot of people in the world today, doesn't matter if it's America or anywhere else in the world, there's people that will tell you, you don't have to be friends with your coworkers. You go to work, do your thing, leave, and you get paid. But some people also have this thing of, well, you've got to put up with your coworkers. I have a lot of people that I work with right now that I don't have to go out and have a beer with them, but it's hard because they all have lives. When I was in the other place, I pretty much said my piece in the first video I said about my old work, and it is on my channel. Go look whenever you have an opportunity because it is definitely deep storytelling. This is the platform I'm going to do it on. I'm going to kind of do it on this one. I don't want to make this very long. On and off, I had great relationships with a handful of people. Some people I'm never going to see again, and some people I question whether or not they respected me. And some of those people are out elsewhere in the country, and I wish them well. Some of them I worked with or worked for, and I don't necessarily want anything to do with them because That is the past. It is, I don't want anything to do with it, because some way it was connections with my DM, and I don't want anything major to go forward with that. We've all got our own lives. I want to move forward, and I don't want anything to do with them. No disrespect. And I know some people think that doesn't make sense, but I'm happy where I'm at. After 5 years, almost 5 years it'll come up to, that I've been gone from that place, I just recently found out that it's closed. It was closing a handful of weeks ago. And I showed you that little tidbit that I bought one pair of shoes there. I found out from a friend on Facebook, or one of my friends said, Bookface, that it was closing. And I sat there and I went and I had to reply back and I said, is this information accurate? And unfortunately, I had to find out from another person on that same post that it was. So the following day ended up being one of my days off. The following day, I went up to find out for myself, and the place looked like an insane asylum. Because apparently my DM walked in and said, in the morning, and said, good news, bad news. Good news, your store looks great. Bad news is you're on the list. Everything's going to be half off. Your store's closing. No reason given. But apparently we found out 2 other stores in the market out near the Pittsburgh area were also closing. So it kind of throws me for a loop of, I know where this company's direction is going. So from what I found out, they almost did like $40,000 a day Friday. I go in Saturday. That place only had 3 people working, including one of my old co-managers. And in a long story short, it was just hell on earth. I ended up going there and waiting 2 hours and helping people. I don't know why I did that, but it was kind of like me. In a way, it felt kind of bittersweet to watch all that stuff happen. And once I got my stuff out of there, even I have an old coworker, Casey, who I hope one day will be on this channel as we do a podcast. Even he said the same things we were saying. It's like, it's unreal. So the final days, I was pretty much grabbing a freaking step stool and checking sizes on walls for everything. The shoe wall was bare. It was a mess in the back room. There were mismates everywhere. Because everyone was trying to find anything they can get their hands on, because everything they knew was half off. And even people at the register, they were giving quick deals just to get them in and out. And I know people and I know customers, they want to get in and get out, but they also want what they want, and they are still customers and still think they own, they are entitled. I don't really have, I mean, that stuff is the past, really. And it's now closed. I tell you about the last handful of days is there. The pandemic really kind of hurt the business, and it hurt the business in malls too. But in a long story short, I said long story short enough. But at the end of the day, I recently went back in because I was told I was being saved a rolling rack, and I found out that my co-manager actually saved it himself, and he'll drop it off one of these days sometime. And even a handful of friends and even family saying, I'm glad I left when I did. So I would like to definitely say this to a handful of people who said, you can get out anytime you want. Well, you have to find something to back yourself up. And I say this in great respect. God has a plan for everybody. And God basically said that time in 2019, as I was trying to look for anything to try to get out, whether it was another store, whether it was Nike, whether it was, going to the home office, the DC and Camp Hill or wherever. Basically, God pretty much said, I know you're trying your best, and I know people are getting on your case. You're doing this, this, and that. You're doing this. Hey, take a look at this. I took a look at that. I've been with it 5 years. Almost 5 years will come May. So I don't know necessarily if it's too bittersweet, because the store is now officially dead. I took pictures on Facebook. I was going to put it on Instagram, but it was like, what's the point? It's been tagged by a former coworker who I know very well. And it was basically him and I were the longest 2 people tenured in that store. I have great respect for him, and he was a pro. He did his thing, And, sometimes you don't get along with every single one of your coworkers. I have great respect for him because he knew his stuff. And he was there on and off, but he was there day one, and he was there the final day it closed. So I respect him for that, and I appreciate the respect of putting the pin of the photo work. And maybe someday I'll have him on the podcast someday. We'll find out down the road. Meanwhile, all the people that I used to work with in those days, some of them are great, some of them are good, some of them are happy. Some of them are married and moved on. Some of them are married, have kids and moved on. Some of them are still hanging around the area. Some are trying to do other great things elsewhere. Some are not on my Facebook. Some are not on my Instagram. One became a professional wrestler, then became some still continues his shoe collection. One person became an independent wrestler, but this is coming from somebody who was skinny as a freaking Dorito when I met him. Now he's buffed up, and now he's a freaking psychology major down in Texas. God bless him. There are others. There will be others that I hope someday I will have on our podcast when we do everything on the laptop and we do it just like the volume does. But in a way, this is going to be a short video because experience does take with you. But when you take all that stuff with you, you basically need to use that as experience and you learn from it. And after 20 some years, I learned a lot from my first manager to the man to the MIW who actually hired me. And, I missed the days in state college, and my time in Altoona will be right about the borderline because some days were great, some days were hell on earth. But you know what? You take the good from the bad. And I say this in closing as I'm about to shut the bar down. Remember this whenever you deal with stuff in your past. And I said this on the Facebook post. The rear view mirror is smaller than the windshield for a reason. Remember that whenever you deal with life experiences. Like the storytelling, hope this isn't too long of a video. Hit the like and subscribe button if you do, in fact, enjoy the content that we're doing. I wanted to blurt this little thing out right now, get it done and over with, because I think it was a spur of the moment story I needed to tell. And until then, I'm happy you got a chance to hang out for a little story time. And until then, the bar is in fact closed, and I will see each and every single one of you bloody legends in the next one. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff coming up. I thank you. I appreciate you. And yes, I will catch you on the flip side. Talk to you guys later, boys and girls.